7. What is up? What is up? Welcome back to the show. I know we've been gone for a while. It's been a long time, but we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Good, good little break. Good little break. We're gonna catch up on some things. Look forward to some other things going on in the sports world. While we've been gone, a lot of news is broke. A lot of conversation has been had. We have been streaming the game though. If you've been looking at us over there on Twitch, Justin, welcome back to the show. We were both live last night. Good 2 hour stream last night, bro. Right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, good fucking 2 hour stream. Very
Yeah,
good.
good stream. Good stream. Good break. Good show. But while we were gone, a couple good cards were announced. Although one seems underwhelming to the crowd, and we'll start there. The highly anticipated announced show that we spoke about. Looking forward to. The White House card was announced with Ilya Taporia taking on Justin Gaethje. Alex Pereira taking on Cyril Gahn, meaning Tom Aspinall still holds on to his heavyweight title and is not ready, but will remain champion as of now. Sean O'Malley's on this card. Bo Nickal will be on the card, and Diego Lopez will once again, who just fights every 3 months now, once a quarter. Diego Lopez will be back opening the card at the White House. Justin, scale of 1 to 10, bro. Is this the card you were hoping it was gonna be? Scale of 1 to 10.
I think it's about as good as you could have hoped from the UFC at this point. Um, we wanted the John Jones, but I guess Dana, he was not putting him on that card for whatever reason. I mean, but other than that, man, I mean, if you look at what's going on in the UFC right now, I mean, I wish, I wish they could have squeezed the Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes fight in there. Um, but I like it. It's
It's all right. It's all right for
I mean,
sure.
I think people are over exaggerating a little bit. I still think it's a banging card.
Yeah, you got a decent bunch of bundle of names on this card. I think with what else we're gonna talk about here, kind of absorb some of it because it's good names. It's good enough names. But I think in terms of a big like main event, it's lacking. But also what I kind of said before, I've said on other shows before, they're kind of selling us the optics of what this is gonna be. You know what I mean? Like they're not selling us a huge card at the White House. They're selling us the fact that a card is going to take place at the White House. The look of this in when is this June? The way this is going to look with an octagon, a cage in the lawn in front of the White House is going to look insane.
It is, and I think the good thing is I think Elias is like the guy right now, so it's going to be pretty great to see him. I think he's going to smoke Gaethje. I think Gaethje's going to sleep. I think he's just that guy, and I do like that Pereira and Gon fight a lot too, man. That's going to be a really banging fight.
You know what else too? This kind of
People
goes to what we
forget,
were talking
people
about,
forget that Cyril Gahn is fucking incredible. It's just the
bro.
way that John beat him just made him look. People forgot.
Bro, but this goes to what we were talking about when we were saying that the UFC doesn't have much for stars right now. If you think about it, these are their two biggest stars they have available right now. Is Pereira and Taporia and O'Malley. Because look,
Yeah, I
because like
agree.
all three of these guys in the last year have headlined a pay per view, which is insane. But it's a decent card. It's a decent card. But I think what is changing everybody's optics and views on the card is the other card that was announced this past week, live on Netflix, May 16th, a month before, a clean month before, because I think it's June 14th for the White House card. But Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano are going to take on one another in a huge fantasy main event. This, to me, this obviously isn't going to be super competitive, but this is going to be one of the biggest spectacles MMA has ever seen, because this is going to be the first major MMA event on Netflix, and it's not the UFC. It's Jake Paul's MVP, who has notably had problems with the UFC and Dana White, along with some of their contemporaries. Ronda Rousey, a former UFC star, Gina Carano, one of the main trailblazers, like right around that cyborg era to bring in women's MMA. And you also have the return of Francis Ngannou, and you got Nate Diaz taking on Mike Perry in the opener. Justin, do you think? What do you think about this? This is huge. Is it not a big time card on Netflix coming up next?
I think
And yeah, a couple months, a month and a half.
I think it's great for the sport, man. I think it's yeah, I mean not all these fights are like the bangers that they just got the names in them, but UFC needs the competition. The competition is going to help everybody. It's going to force the UFC's hand probably to pay fighters more, to try to produce more stars, to make the big fights. And then they're going to be trying to get competitive on Netflix with this kind of, professional MMA, try to get their thing off of the ground. So all I think at the end of the day, people just need to look at it. All it means is more fights for us, man, which is a fucking W.
It's gonna be huge, and you're right. It is that the UFC does need legitimate competition, and MVP putting on a high value name show like this, right? Because if we were to compare which two are going to be truly competitive, you got to look at the White House card, right? But if you look at the names, the name recognition alone, that Netflix card is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be at the Intuit Dome. You got Ronda Rousey and Carano. Everybody knows those two. Everybody loves Francis. And who doesn't love a Diaz brother, bro? Who doesn't love a Diaz brother?
Diaz brothers just fight, man. It's
They're
what
just
they
fight.
do, bro.
They're popular. Everybody loves them. And we kind of speculated. Imagine they somehow get their hands on a John Jones or an Aspinall or even a McGregor if he can get free of his contract. That would be huge. Because then you would want to fight on the undercards of these kinds of cards. Who wouldn't?
I'm like, it's almost unbelievable to think he's still in a contract.
Yes, absolutely, bro. I mean, but that's how they do it. The UFC tends to, they'll lock you into a contract and they'll hold you. They'll hold you as long as they possibly can,
Yeah, they
bro.
don't
But
do year contracts; they do fight contracts. So, like,
yes.
you're under obligation for this many fights, no matter
Mhm.
if it's fucking 10 years down the road.
Yeah, that's why a lot of their guys are just stuck. It's fight by fight. You owe me these many fights. Even if you get hurt, you're stuck here. You're assigned to me on because of you owe me X amount of fights.
If I was a UFC fighter, I would go try to get like Kirk Cousins' agent or something when I was
I mean,
making a deal with the UFC.
or you're gonna do what their heavyweight champion just did, bro, and you go get that boxing promotion that also don't like them. Go get Matchroom, make some noise. Get some people that know how to talk to them and do business with them. Smart move. But in other smart and not so smart moves, bro, the NFL free agency took place while we were on our what was it? It's just like a week and a half, 2 week break, missed a couple days.
Yeah,
Obviously,
not
the
too
big
bad.
news, bro, was Max Crosby's situation with the Baltimore Ravens, where he was traded for two first rounders and then immediately sent back a couple days later because of a failed physical where he had to return to Las Vegas. Now, let's start right there, right? I understand maybe the Ravens saw their situation because allegedly, let's put this out here first to both sides of the coin. Allegedly, the plan was for Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby to be teamed up on the defense of the Ravens because Hendrickson was going to take less money. So they stocked up for Max. But then I think by the time they realized they got the Max deal done, they traded all their picks and they hadn't signed any of the other free agents they wanted to bring into the room. Now, once they realize that, obviously they're going to look at this. They knew he was not healthy going into this. That's plain as day, right? Me and you, we all know that to be. He had just had surgery. Even though he was willing to play, he had just had surgery. They knew he was injured. They look at this report. He's obviously not ready right now, but he will be ready by the season. But for some reason, they say, nope, he fails. Let's send him back and get our picks back. Now, Justin, the other side of that coin is Max Crosby more hurt than what he and I and you know or reveal? What do you think?
I don't know. That whole thing is weird. The whole Max Crosby thing is weird to me. I think I think the Ravens might have just got cold feet, man. I think that they
Because they signed Hendrickson right after that instead of
yeah,
making it more
I think they
protected.
started regret. I think they had buyer's remorse and wanted them picks back, man. I think they saw opportunity and probably talked to Hendrickson and realized that they were going to get him for less, not as much money as they thought maybe, and realized that they could still keep their picks and just let the Max Crosby deal go. And it probably, I think the hurt thing was probably a scapegoat. Because even in season, man, there's videos of him playing fucking basketball and dunking and doing shit. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
So just one of those things where I just think they got cold feet, man. I think the Ravens got cold feet.
Because that's why I said you could possibly believe what they said when they say the plan was to put him and Hendrickson together because they paid Henderson and it wasn't a ton of money, but it was good money he looked for. But it's like I was mentioned and led on to in my first point where they looked around and like, man, all we have is Max now. We don't have any picks. We can't build really nothing much else around him. A lot of our money's bought into our offense that also needs work. And I agree. Those they got those buyer's remorse and they thought to themselves, now what do we do? What is the move here? Where do we go? Another one of the bigger moves is also, the two quarterback situations we previewed with Tua Tagovailoa, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray making his way to Minnesota. Tua Tua making his way to help replace the other hurt left-hander that they have in Atlanta. Dustin, what are your thoughts on those two moves right there with Kyler and Tua? Who do you think has a chance to? Well, I'm not going to say start because I think Kyler has the obvious easy way to start because I think the JJ McCarthy show is over in Minnesota. But who do you think has the best chance to have more success in their new situation at quarterback?
I think it's gonna be interesting. I think Minnesota has got the best chance because they have a better team. Uh, so I think that's where I'm leaning towards. I think they're both good moves. I mean, look, man, JJ McCarthy is just not very good. I think we could see that. I mean, look, that Minnesota team won 14 games, and apparently, from what I'm hearing, the long term plan is to make Tyler the starter. Long term is what they're hoping for. So that's probably the better situation.
I mean, it would be the smart thing to do, bro, because like I said, the JJ McCarthy show is obviously done. They gave him a chance. They put a lot of their chips in, and it's just potential can only last you so long in the league, and it's not really there. He's really hot and cold. His performances kind of, he looks really good, and then he looks really bad. He hasn't really developed. He can't stay healthy, and then you've obviously seen the results of a Daniel Jones and obviously Sam Donald, who one leaves, and his offense leads the league and for the better part of 10 weeks, and the other guy wins the damn Super Bowl. So you need a guy that's going to lead this offense because this team is obviously shown it's capable of being a competitive football team. Now, at the same time, is Kyler that guy? Because I understand the offense and the weapons around him is good, but is Kyler Murray himself that good of a player to lead that offense to that situation? Because, like I said, Sam Donald and Daniel Jones, two completely different players from Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Kyler Murray is the guy to get him back, even to what Sam Donald had him? Good little deep offensive run during the regular season. Kind of fell apart in the playoffs, but you get to Seattle, he plays phenomenal in Seattle. Can Kyler Murray do that? Because Kyler Murray did show flashes, but he's also been very injury prone, moving around in his position. He's not the biggest of players, standing in at what? He's about 5'10, maybe 5'11. Under 6 feet at quarterback is bad. I know people point to Drew Brees, but Drew Brees is not Kyler Murray. Drew Brees is on an entirely different level than Kyler. What are your thoughts on that, bro? Kyler Murray in Minnesota. Kyler Murray being the guy for Minnesota, or do you think he's just another stop guy for what they need?
I'm just not a Kyler Murray guy, bro. He's like you said, he's shown flashes, but I think there's a lot of talk about immaturity. Um, there's a lot of talk about like just he's super injured. So it's like one of those things, man, where I had to see it to believe it. Do I think he gives them a better chance than JJ McCarthy? Yes. Do I think the Minnesota team is better than people think they are? Yes. But that's remained to be seen.
Now, another situation that we kept our eyes on too, bro, which we knew was coming, was we spoke on Tua. The Miami Dolphins have essentially cleaned house on what they had, except for Achan is still there. He's the last piece, and he's probably going to be the unfortunate piece that stays during the rebuild. Tua is gone. Both receivers and Waddle are gone. You lose a former potential Hall of Fame receiver in Tyreek, although he had a horrific injury, but he's gone and he wanted gone. You lose all these pieces, you bring in a Malik Willis. The plan is obviously to rebuild and restart. And then obviously the Malik Willis, which is another player I don't understand the hype behind, bro. Is like a Malik Willis. What is like? I understand he's had these good moments behind the a Packers offense, which got way better last year. They still need work. Packers are a good team, still need a lot of work, but it's much better than what he's going into now. Like he's gonna go to Miami and he's gonna look bad, and people are gonna be like, "Well, why did they bring in Malik Willis?" But that's besides the point. In Miami, bro, what is your thoughts on why did it fall apart? Why did it not work? Do you think Troy Aikman, who is he's not the general manager per sense, but he's essentially lead counsel on a lot of these decisions. Do you think they're making the right moves? And do you think their plan is for possible? Are we looking at, hey, let's just tank it out and see what comes up next year, or is this a long term kind of a rebuild for you in Miami?
It's long term build in Miami, bro. It's got a fucking they got to do a whole complete rebuild, bro. They've let everybody go. They've done everything. It's time to just it's a long term 5 year.
Cut out there for a second.
I think it's like a 5 year fucking rebuild for them. I think Troy Aikman is trying to tear it down, bro. I mean, they've let everybody go. You see how much dead money they have?
A lot, bro. They have a lot. I mean, when you take on the Tua contract as a cut, as just a straight cut, it's gonna hurt. I mean, but you look at the Broncos situation, and that took maybe what 2 years, 3 years, and they're look where they got to. Granted, injuries got them at the end of the day, but it still worked out. Now they're off that Russ money, but Russ was a more proven guy than Tua for sure. But then you also spent a lot of money on a Tyreek, on a Achan, on a Waddle. A lot of that money's gone, dead. Now, another couple of good moves we can talk about. Mike Evans. What's your thoughts on Mike Evans, bro? Did you think that we talked about the potential for him moving to certain places? I don't think we brought up a San Francisco. Now, doing the essentially kind of like the same thing like Kyler. Like I was such a fan of this team as a kid. It makes a lot of sense. But what do you outside of that? Could you have thought that Mike Evans to the 49ers was going to be the fit and where he would eventually play outside of staying with Tampa? Because I thought logistically, if he didn't want to be a one, you could have just, if he was willing to not be a one, and essentially you could have stayed in Tampa, but you go to San Francisco because they're going to need a number one receiver because they're going to lose both Brandon Ayuk and I think, who was it, Jennings. He's going to be gone. Mike Evans comes in. What's your thoughts on that? Mike Evans to the Niners. Do you think Mike Evans was really the option? Do you think? What do you think of the fact that the Niners were the option and that Mike Evans, but then Mike Evans going to San Francisco?
I think that's a great move for San Francisco. I think he's going to be insane in Shanahan's offense. That's a fucking great move from them. I hate it. Hate it. I hate it here. Fucking love that for
I
them though.
hate it.
I fucking hate it here. That's such a good move for them, bro. He's going to be a veteran receiver. They're going to make him the guy. He's been insane in Tampa for a long time, bro. So, I mean, that for them, they needed somebody in that position. So, I mean, bro, that's a fucking hell of a move for them.
Absolutely, bro. I mean, it's a really good move for them, bro. That's like I said, you're gonna lose those two guys. But those two guys kind of really didn't want to be there. You move on with Mike Evans. You still got Chris McCaffrey. You do have another deal or option which I feel like they might hold on to him because eventually somebody's going to need a quarterback. I'm super surprised at too that Mac Jones hasn't been moved. And I don't even know if I've even heard of calls being made for him, especially with the guy. If anybody who proved himself to get a starting job, it was Mac Jones. Now, being that as it mad, you said you're super jealous. And we kind of had a short conversation off to the side about this. Your team, to you, hasn't had a super satisfactory start to that offseason in that couple weeks we weren't on the air. What are your thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys moves and what they have and haven't done to this point?
We can skip this section of the show. Just move on. I'm not excited, bro. Um, I like the safeties that they got. I think that helps. It really it's hard for me to say here or there until I see what they do in the draft. Um, I still think we really need an edge rusher. If we can land if they move up and we can land a great edge rusher and maybe like get a Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker, I'll be pretty fucking ecstatic. Because one thing that they've done really well is I don't know what's going on with Dak and CD and Jerry and George, but that relationship seems to be going very well. You
Yes,
haven't heard no complaint. You
they look
haven't
like
seen
they're
any.
united.
Yeah, because you haven't seen any complaints about the tag. We haven't seen him fucking talk about he's not going to play. I'm getting pictures today of like them on the beach chilling with CD. So that whole thing makes you excited. Now it's just you get that edge rusher, you that big time edge rusher, and you get a really good solid linebacker. Maybe try to find another corner in the draft, and I'm gonna be pretty excited. They damn sure ain't gonna be worse than they were. And I know they're switching to a 3-4. So maybe that's why the personnel change is going to work. A lot of people say Osa don't work in a 3-4. So we'll have to see. Can't be worse than what Eberflus had. But it's all going to depend on what they do in the draft.
I mean, yeah, it works out, bro. It should be. I agree. If they do make a move come draft time to go up into the top, because what they're at 12, they go into like the top 8. You would be, and then if they do a good package move to where they can get exactly who is needed, a young star edge rusher, one of the top guys on defense for sure, then you can say, okay, this is somewhat satisfactory because it's going to be a younger guy. A lot of these big contracts have been restructured. Like you said, George Pickens isn't really, granted, we have a long way to go, but it doesn't seem like there's any kind of controversy that like y'all compare nothing compared to what y'all just went through with Micah, because you heard something by now about Micah not like complaining about his deal, wanting more money, not wanting more money. Him and Jerry had a handshake. You heard those things by now. So far, so good with George Pickens. Now that you got him locked up, but like you, I'm just thinking, okay, if this isn't the move and we're just sitting on this, then what are we really doing? That's the worry, right? Because what if it is just a bunch of, let's just say above average guys that you just eventually bring in, you use them picks and save them for another Jerry Jones style tease of a big major move coming in and nothing really happening. That worry in the back of your mind obviously is going to stay there because you've been through the situation with your team before, similar to my team, who we're going to move on to now. What are your thoughts on the Houston Texans, who made a big move, in my opinion, for trading for Montgomery out of Detroit, while at the same time getting Philadelphia's safety, and then not a bunch of big time name offensive linemen, but much better improved offensive linemen for your offense, while moving around and shaking some deals on defense. You got Daniil Hunter some more money. From the beat writers around the Texans, they're saying the Will Anderson deal is coming. What are your thoughts on the Houston Texans? And do you think they've improved enough, or at least made the right steps to improve what they need to be more competitive next year?
I just think I like the running back, bro, but I still think you need another weapon. I think that defense has gotten even better than they were, which makes them definitely competitive, definitely contenders. Uh, so that defense is where it needs to be. Will Anderson's going to be the best pass rusher in the league before too long. But I think they are still in serious need of skill position. Um, and you did work on your offensive line, which is huge. But I'll tell you that skill position thing because if Nico goes down, man, you're still hurting really bad.
Really bad. And I agree. Um,
Like I
I
feel
feel
like
like
maybe you should have been looking at Mike Evans.
I thought so because, like, obviously, like, duh, he's not going to be a Texans fan, but like the fact that he's from the area, you could have bought into that. But like I said, him going to the Niners makes a lot of sense when you dive deeper into their situation with no receivers. He was a fan of that team, but at the same time, you're looking around, and yes, you kind of like those young combinations. But I agree, you for sure like these, like Higgins needs more development. Tank Dell's coming off a major surgery to his leg after back-to-back seasons of injury and missing a whole season. So he's not going to be as fast or as built or ready to go as he is normally. It's going to take some time. You're going to want to for sure number two because you just lost Christian Kirk also. Now, who that is and what trade moves could possibly be out there within the region of our cap situation that we have with needing to pay Will Anderson, I don't know. I've seen the teases of, DeAndre Hopkins coming back, but that's still an older DeAndre Hopkins who's still serviceable. But I don't know if, like, am I going to make DeAndre my number two to put out there for 18 weeks this year? I don't know. I would love to have him back, but I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think, I mean, maybe you get someone in the draft. You know, maybe y'all tend to like to trade up and do shit in the draft. So
Tends to like to trade out of the first round too, so I don't know.
I
That's the
don't know. I
crazier
just
part.
think your skill position, get you a line, get you more help on the line, and get you some skill position.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But those were some of the more bigger moves from the NFL free agency. Now we're going to dive in to here in a couple weeks as the NBA playoffs creep up on us. I think it starts in about 3 weeks. Yeah, starts in April 18th. This is the NBA playoff as it sits today. Obviously, you see the playing tournament, which is some good games right now. I like Portland and taking on the Golden State Warriors. The Suns taking on the Clippers. You got the 76ers out going out in on the East. Hornets and the Heat taking on in the other play-in. Your number ones are Detroit and Oklahoma City, with the Spurs and Celtics rounding it out in the East. Justin, looking at the playoffs as it is right now, who do you like coming out of both sides for the playoffs? If this is the big finish, this is how it's going to look. Who do you like coming out of this right here?
Gonna say, I mean, I just don't. I have a hard time seeing.
Now, I
Um,
believe before you go, I believe my original pick was the Thunder and the Knicks. I think that was my pick for the finals. That was at the beginning.
yeah, I'm going Thunder Boston. I think we're getting Thunder Boston. I don't see the Thunder being beaten. I just think Boston's more experienced and they're going to find a way to get through. I'd love
Yeah,
to say the Lakers, but they're just too inconsistent. But they are going to be a dangerous team.
yeah. I mean, they're inconsistent for sure. If they can have a cold night, even though like right now they're on a 9 game win streak, they're looking really good. Luca's going off, everything's clicking, but one little trip up and they when they get in a slump, they take a while to come out of that slump. That's the problem with the Lakers. Now, like I said, my opening season picks were the Thunder and the Knicks. Strong pick right there. Number 3 in the East taking on number 1 in the West. But if you're gonna ask me today who I think is going to the finals out of each side, it's gonna be San Antonio and Boston. Now, I understand San Antonio isn't as seasoned as other teams in this league, like a Boston, like a Lakers, like a Thunder, like Cleveland. But the talent and the coaching that is on this team in San Antonio, Justin, especially getting behind their star in Wimby and having a very, very classed team built around him. And also they went into a series with the top teams in the West. With they beat the Lakers, they beat the Thunder, and then they beat the Rockets and Nuggets in a 6 game span. No, it was 8 game span on the road. Beat all those teams. San Antonio, to me, if you were to ask right now, just to pick one, the San Antonio Spurs are going to win the finals. Because I feel like, yes, they're not as seasoned as the other teams that we have, not as veteran, not many veteran presence, but they're so young and so talented, so skilled, and they don't know what they don't know, which is a benefit to them. And the road isn't as tough. I can see them beating a Clippers or a Phoenix. I can see them beating a Timberwolves or a Lakers. Where it gets tricky is when they play a Denver or if they play the Thunder. Because the Thunder is so good and they're so united. And also, the reigning MVP, Shea, is going to be on this team. And in a mentality that he has too with Shea, with the way that he's like, he didn't like the way they won a championship and he wants to do it better, which is the mentality you want from a guy who wants to be in this league and go back to back. Now, Boston, on the other hand, you look at the year that they've had, such a great year until Tatum came back, and now Tatum is back, and he came back early. So by the time he primes when you need him, he'll be fresh, ready to rock. Could I still see the Knicks and the Thunder? Quite possibly, but the same way I think about certain teams in the NFL, especially New York teams, I think of the Knicks. The Knicks tend to trip right up when you don't need them to. And that's my thought on them. But for sure, yeah, I like to rock with this pick. San Antonio, Boston, NBA Finals. That's what I like. That's how I got it going on. I do respect your picks also, but I don't know, bro. What do you think though, man? What do you think? Do you like San Antonio's chances, or do you think it's just you trust the veteran presence and the seasoned of the other teams around them in the West? Like if they let's hypothetically say they run into LA after the Clippers or the Suns. You picking LA?
Yeah, I think so. I like LA a lot. I think what's going to make you talking about the Lakers, right?
Yes, if they were to beat the Clippers or the Suns, they would play the Lakers.
Yeah,
Hypothetically.
yeah, because the Lakers, man. What I think what's going to make the Lakers scary is that they can win without LeBron. Um, and now he knows what kind of role he's in. So imagine he's going to be pretty fresh, and he's going to be able to take over in those moments. And I think that's what they're waiting for.
Hmm. I mean, it obviously seems like the plan, which this was the first year he didn't qualify for any awards just based off the games that he missed. But if you look at it in the long term, it kept him fresh. And if he's primed for the playoffs, one last push, he could possibly do it. Especially if Luca and AR are taking the reins like they are and leading the charge. Now, I think that's a problem for them when they run into San Antonio because they don't have that many good bigs to begin with. And obviously, you're taking on Wimby, but they don't have that many bigs on their own to begin with. So, like when they run into a San Antonio, when they run into a Denver, they're gonna have problems. When they run into the Rockets too, they will have problems. But I don't know. I like San Antonio's chances, bro. It's just because, like I said, I trust the. It just like I said, it just happened with the Thunder. The Thunder had their rise. They got close, and then the next year they got there and they won it. Boston has just been on a tear without one of their big stars. But when that star comes back and you continue to dominate, and he's not even at full form yet, you're gonna be dangerous in the playoffs. Super dangerous in the playoffs, bro. But it should be a good one, man. Should be a really, really good playoffs coming up here in the next. I think that's like 3 weeks from now, April 18th. Starting with the playing tournaments, which is another good thing. Could we see Charlotte? Could we see Philly, Phoenix, maybe even Golden State staying alive, even though they're due. One of these days, bro, Golden State is finally just gonna die off and let everybody go and let Steph just build a go away team like Kobe had when he walked off. What do you think?
Sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
I was saying like eventually, like one of these days, The Warriors are just gonna trade everybody away and let Steph build like a go away team where he looks like a star by himself, like Kobe, and just let him go on a tour and go away.
Yeah, I think him and LeBron are nearing that stage where we should be getting them retirement tours pretty soon. I think it'll be cool, and I think they deserve it. I wish they'd go ahead and get it. I think it's time for both of them. Hall of Famers, two of the greatest. Both of them changed the game forever. So I think that's correct. I think they're going to do that. I've often wondered if they'll send LeBron, if LeBron will do that in LA. Maybe he goes back to Cleveland for his last year.
That's been the rumor of he's going back to Cleveland to finish it up.
I would like that actually. Go back to Cleveland one last year, finish it up at home. But I think it is time for him to. I think it's time, especially for LeBron, to start thinking about packing them up, man.
I mean, he's older, bro. You're gonna have to at some point. I mean, just like I said, could you if they win a championship, I could see that immediately happen starting in the off season. Like they're gonna have the parade. LeBron James is traded the next week. Now he I think he's on a 1 year deal too, especially now I can see just the Lakers being like, you know what, we're gonna move forward with Luca and AR. We're gonna build around them. We appreciate your services. You have a nice day. But at the same time, right? Could LeBron swerve everybody and just go to Golden State like we know he wants to play with Steph? Obviously, yes. Is it a better story if he goes back to Cleveland and wraps it up? Yeah. I mean, I think that's something that pulls at the heartstrings a lot better than him going to play on one more, like just to have fun with one more guy. You know what I mean? One of those things like that. But we're going to move forward into the show, going a long time with the news and notes of this as we jump towards the back end of the show here, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of cover some things that we didn't really get a chance to cover. You know, kind of like this as a wrap up show. Like I said, it's going to be our big recap show. Coming back into this schedule that we're trying to keep steady, right? Monday was obviously 316 Day, which is WWE's holiday for Stone, celebrating the life and career of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The GOAT.
Justin, as I was going to say, yeah, we were going to do that Monday. What is your, as I pick up these notes here, what is your all time Stone Cold Steve Austin moment that you've seen?
I mean, I think the most epic one that you would have to put as number one would have to be the WCW versus WWE. Stone Cold was like acting different. He's at the bar. WCW raids WWE. They're in the ring throughout the fucking arena, kicking the shit. There's all of them, and then they're waiting on Stone Cold, and then here he comes. He just goes and takes over that Raw's War kind of moment where he comes out, stuns all the WCW superstars in the ring. You got Taker and Kane there. That's to me one of the most epic moments in history of the WWE, not just Stone Cold.
Bro, yeah, I remember that moment too. One of the better moments. You know, he's acting all kinds of weird. They're saying they need him, they need him. And then eventually he comes into the ring, that clean house. One of the better moments, bro. But yeah, that was just one of those things. Wanted to
And
do
that
on
was
Monday.
almost like, and that was almost signified like his and Mr. McMahon's victory because that was right after WCW was already gone at that point. People didn't realize it, but he had already bought him out, and they had already lost. So that's like his victory moment.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. That was kind of just like a big like just rubbing it in your face type of moment, bro. Couple news and notes, like I said, on this little segment, just to pick up one of those things I wanted to do because, like I said, it was 316 Day when we were originally going to plan the show. But looking at some news and notes here, we'll cover the World Baseball Classic was won by Venezuela over the United States. Justin, we'll go real quick over it. I thought it was a great tournament. I thought it was great pool play. I was super surprised that Venezuela, not only that they won the whole thing, but the fact that they beat Japan and then went on to beat Italy and then went on to beat the United States in the final was insane to me. But when you look at their team, they're well structured, they play great together. United States just picked a bad day to have a bad day. What are your thoughts on the baseball classic as a whole? Because if to me it seemed like it was everywhere, bro. To me, it seemed like not like everybody was talking about it, but everybody knew about it at least. What are your thoughts on the WBC and the results from said tournament?
Well, didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but it was great. Great fucking tournament. People that people that play for their countries, man, it's just a different element. It makes any sport a different element. And I think we need to run this tournament every year. I fucking love it. I think it was great. A great watch. Congratulations to them. I thought America was going to win that thing. We have a hard time not coming in second in that tournament.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's so weird. I mean, I really thought Japan was going to win it all anyway. So, like I said, though, you never know in this tournament because when people, you know, it's just a great tournament, man.
I think so too because, like you said, like the patriotism or whatever the proper word is, the unity of one being behind their country that they represent in a sporting event like the Olympics is awesome. I would love it if it was every year, but I like the fact that I think it is every 3 years where you get that new round of stars, a new round of guys, and you know, kind of like what we had with Kershaw moments where this guy was retired. He's like, hey, I still want to play for my country. This is all I got going. I don't really got to report, build those super teams. But what are your thoughts on the publicity that came from such though? From this tournament because, like I said, it felt like it was everywhere. I felt like a lot more people, even people that I hardly see talking about baseball, were talking about this tournament. Do you think it is the better thing for the sport? And is this why you would want it to be maybe every 2 years or every year now? Have it more often. Have more baseball in front of me to where the point, like, because it is a long season, but we're all gonna report more for even like the MLB playoffs. We were all invested in this playoffs this past year, all the way through the World Series. Do you think this does more benefits for baseball, and how does the regular baseball season capitalize on it?
I think it's I think it's so good. I think it's just good for baseball. I mean, who's not? I mean, it's almost more covered around like MLB than MLB is because everyone around the world is interested in it.
Absolutely, bro.
So
I think
it's to me, it's just like a great thing. I mean, let's make it every 2 years, maybe,
yeah.
so you get
Well,
that anticipation for it.
yeah, because you can still rotate the good amount of guys. Hulk, I mean, because like there was star power across the teams, but they were kind of being held back in pool play. They kind of got a game or two in there. But once you got into the regular tournament, then all bets were off, and they were getting in there. But now let's kind of move over, and we'll step into the March Madness of it all. The men's and women's bracket is taking place as we speak. Is there games today? Because I know we had to, we start just to go ahead and start with the upset that we saw last night as Texas took down Gonzaga. What are your thoughts on that game, bro?
Man, what a big win for Texas, man! That's huge. I mean, we all know Gonzaga's just blue blood is blue blood. So, I mean, what a win!
There you go, bro. You cut out, bro. To go again. Yo. There, not there. Well, I think we lost him. Yeah, I think we lost him there, folks. But that was a good win. As like you said, as blue blood you can get. Gonzaga is one of the bigger teams in the tournament as they get beat by a upset against Texas. Now, could we see Texas make some noise in this tournament? Quite possibly. But we shall see as the March Madness grooves down. But we're going to go ahead and make that the show, ladies and gentlemen. That has been talking about with Matt Garces. And I'm going to sign off for our friend Justin here. Thank you again for joining us all across our platforms. Don't forget to keep a lookout for us as we will go live again tonight playing some Call of Duty. We will be live all over on Twitch Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to our friends over at Infighting FX. As like I said, we will be live again tonight here on Twitch. Matt Garces _4 on twitch.tv, talking about radio on YouTube. That has been the show, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.